Hello everyone, it's Crystal. Today we're going to be covering medical-related phrasal verbs. Do you know the difference between breaking out in a rash and what it means when a rash flares up? We're going to figure out the difference in the rest of the video. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's begin with break out. To break out in something means to suddenly be covered in something. And this is something that can be seen on your skin. So a rash, marks, or sweat, for example. She broke out in a rash after eating strawberries, perhaps due to an allergic reaction. He broke out in a cold sweat before the meeting. He's probably nervous. You might also hear this simply as you're or I'm breaking out. So this typically means that you are starting to get acne and usually on your face. So a teenager might say, "Mom, I'm starting to break out," meaning she's starting to get acne on her face.
Break out some sort of rash any second now. Break out some sort of rash any second now.
Next is pull through. This means to get through an illness or a difficult situation, or to recover from or survive something. So this is typically used when the illness is quite difficult or severe. We do not use this for something small like a cold or a cough, but something major like an operation or possibly a large accident. I really hope she will pull through. We might say this if she was in a major car accident, for example. Everyone was worried that he wouldn't pull through this time.
You'll pull through this, Sabrina. You'll pull through this, Sabrina.
Next is flare up. This is when an illness or a medical problem returns or becomes worse. We typically use this term for problems that are somewhat consistent, or they come often, or they don't fully go away. My allergies always flare up when spring starts. Sometimes his eczema will flare up over the summer.
Stress can make it flare up. Stress can make it flare up.
Let's look at cough up. When we look at this term medically, we are not just talking about coughing, but bringing up something by coughing, such as phlegm or blood, etc. He is coughing up a lot of phlegm. Coughing up blood is a serious issue.
You hear what I just said? I saw you cough up blood. You hear what I just said? I saw you cough up blood.
Next is throw up. Throw up means to vomit. Throw up sounds more informal compared to vomit, but it is not as informal as other slang terms. So vomiting has many other slang terms such as barfing, hurling, puking, tossing your cookies, or tangoing with the toilet, and so on. But throw up is the most common and widely used. My son threw up last night. When I was pregnant, I threw up every morning.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
Don't throw up in this tent.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
Don't throw up in this tent.
Next is fight off. To fight off something means to resist an illness. So this is when you already have an illness and you are trying to get rid of it. And it feels like a struggle or something difficult in particular. I have been fighting off a cold all week. Her body couldn't fight off the infection, so she went to the hospital.
You'll need these to fight off infection. You'll need these to fight off infection.
Next is pass out or blackout. This means to faint. So these terms are often used interchangeably in spoken English, but technically, Blackout is losing your memory or not being able to remember something, and also possibly fainting. While passing out is always fainting or losing consciousness. She felt dizzy and nearly passed out. In this case, she almost fainted. After drinking all night, he blacked out. In this case, he can't remember everything from a certain point, and he possibly fainted at the same time. It's unclear.
Blacked out. Blacked out.
Let's look back at my first example. Breaking out in a rash means that you are suddenly covered in a rash that you didn't have before. And when a rash flares up, this means that you previously had a rash that went away and came back, or the rash that you had became worse. So even though these terms sound very similar, they aren't exactly the same. Finally, let's go over a short example using all of the terms that we have just covered. Please listen carefully. It all started when I broke out in a strange rash all over my neck. I thought it was just my eczema flaring up, but then I started coughing up a lot of phlegm and some blood. That night I threw up, so I wondered if my body was trying to fight off some serious infection. I felt so nauseous that I nearly passed out, so I went to a doctor right away. Thankfully, after getting some medication, I knew that I was going to pull through. Were you able to hear all of our key terms in that last example? If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below. Please like and subscribe for new content, and until next time, bye!